That's entertainment. You know, when you're a great fighter, a great entertainer in general, you want the person to say, when do I see that person again? When's he gonna play again? When's he gonna fight again? You know, you gotta be able, if you can't put in seats, you're gonna get fired. You know.
40 fight, and I have Crawford winning this fight. Crawford's gonna win this fight doing something that nobody's done to Canelo.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say. And it didn't take me going to camp to know this.
Okay.
Weight gain. So Israel Majamov says that if Terence Crawford bulks up, that's going to be the biggest mistake he can possibly make. And that's going to hinder him from being victorious against Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Mike Tyson shared his views after training with Terence Crawford, stressing the importance of staying composed before a massive showdown with Canelo. Tyson explained that while the pressure is always extreme on such a stage, the true fight takes place in the mind. He noted that if Terence controls his emotions and avoids being overwhelmed, he can perform at his peak and make victory look far more achievable.
You know, fighters, pressure, right? Pressure's not being hit. You know, everybody thinks pressure's like, get on, stay on. Pressure's the thought of being hit. And that's how they fall. The thought is going, I'm not hitting that hard, but they think I am.
Right. So
it's all psychological.
Are you, when you're walking to the ring, are you noticing anything, or are you so locked in?
I see everything moving. Every person, every girl. I see everything.
Dude, your walk-ins would last longer than the fights sometimes.
Do anyone have a napkin on my towels? Because I'm sweating like a pit with one hole up here.
You're sweating.
We will get you one.
You're sweating.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're sweating like Charles Barkley at a spelling bee.
Yeah, I'm going to be sweating pretty hard there, too.
Exactly. So, Mike, we all know you hit hard. Who was the first person that when they hit you, you was like, oh, okay, this guy hits pretty hard?
Amir Khan, a seasoned boxer who once fought Canelo Alvarez, spoke about a magnitude of potential clash between Canelo and Terence Crawford. Khan admitted that Canelo is an elite fighter with unmatched experience, but also highlighted Crawford's genuine punching power. With Crawford adapting to the weight and becoming stronger, Khan believes this is no one-sided battle. Both fighters, in his eyes, bring unique weapons and game-changing skills. He respects Canelo's dominance at higher divisions, but also warns that Crawford's ability to adjust and rise to new levels makes the fight unpredictable and fascinating.
He did that to Canelo after, so to your point, can Crawford do the same? Coming up from 54 and 47, can he, or will that, throw off the catch and shoot? I was going to catch and shoot.
Make me think.
We're not catching and shooting.
We're catching and resetting and getting out of this range for a minute or two.
My fight with Arrow, I came back to the corner. I had a look on my face, I guess. And my dad said, what's wrong? I said, nothing. Like, classic Sean, nothing. He said, Sean, tell me what's wrong. I said, my legs are kind of tight. He said, your legs kind of tight? He looked back, looked behind him. He would always do this and look back at the other corner. I don't know why. He looked back at them.
It was a habit, probably.
He said, all right, we're not going to use our legs so much this round. And I was thinking to myself, like, I need these legs.
I'm not trying to wear these shots.
Yeah, so, to your point, when there's a feeling, when
the nervous system goes out,
where does that adjustment take place? Do you trust the adjustment? Do you implement it? So that next round I did settle down a little more. I was
lost the round.
Whatever. Hell up.
I don't know where around is. Chill out.
He don't even know where around is. Pour this water on you. So we got some time until this fight. So we ain't gotta pour it all out at one time. We'll work our way up to this one.
Try to get on big guests to lead up to the fight.
Expect some more very, very big guests, and expect some very, very big things from the Puerto Rico podcast. The week of Crawford versus Canelo versus Crawford takes place here. What is that? September 6th?
13th. I was just gonna say, I've been critical of the fight because I felt like it serves as a foreground to the Ali Act stuff. And
analysts have raised concerns over Crawford's age and readiness at heavier divisions. At 38, by the time this fight could happen, Terence will be facing the natural decline age brings, though he stepped up to 154 pounds against Israel Majamov. Many remain unconvinced that he could withstand someone with Canelo's experience at higher weights. In boxing, Age affects speed, reflexes, and recovery, all crucial against a relentless opponent. Experts argue that while Crawford's skills remain sharp, his body may not respond the same. This bout is framed as his ultimate test, not only in skill, but also in physical and mental resilience.
Being successful September 13th, Las Vegas, Nevada, Allegiant Stadium, when he takes on another first ballot Hall of Famer, 4-division world champion, 2-time undisputed world champion, and reigning undisputed super middleweight world champion, Mexican superstar boxer Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is 63 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 wins by way of knockout. Terence Crawford had one fight at 154. That was against Israel Majimov, the WBA junior middleweight world champion, right? And since then, Terence Crawford has moved up now to 168 to challenge Canelo Alvarez, okay? And so prior to that, he spent 5 years at what? Welterweight. So the concern that people have for Terence Crawford, rightfully so, is that Terence Crawford will be 38 years of age 2 weeks after the fight. So he's 37, okay? Terence Crawford has one fight at 154. Prior to that, Terence Crawford has been competing, okay, since 2018 for the last 7 years at 147. Since June of 2018, he's been fighting at 147. His only fight outside of that division in the last 5 to 6 years was his fight against Israel Majimov at 154, which he won, unanimous decision. I thought he handily won, but people thought that he struggled. Israel Majimov is now 10 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 7 wins by way of knockout because he lost his last fight to Mexican superstar, WBC junior middleweight interim champion, Virgil Ortiz Jr.
Crawford and his team have continued stressing their preparation. They emphasize learning from the mistakes Jermel Charlo made in his loss to Canelo. Terence insists he is not Charlo, pointing to his discipline, ring IQ, and different style. His camp has been crafting strategies built on smart pacing, precision, and movement rather than brute power. The plan is to frustrate Canelo with defense and capitalize on counters. Training has been intense, with heavy conditioning and sparring designed to mirror Canelo's power and pressure inside the ring.
Team Crawford just revealed that they're currently working on making sure that the Omaha native doesn't end up like Jermel Charlo this coming September 13th when he faces Canelo Alvarez. Now this report comes from Boxing Scene, wherein it was just revealed by somebody from Crawford's camp that Terence Crawford is, quote, wary of repeating the mistake that former 154-pound champion Jermel Charlo made to a new weight limit without consideration of other factors. Boxing Scene further elaborated by saying that Crawford wants to retain his ability to fight with fluidity, maximizing the effectiveness of his power punches from both hands and ability to fight from a southpaw stance. With that said, Crawford's camp is now on full lockdown from the media or any sort of distraction up until fight week. Now, it's definitely worth considering that while it's
Experts also highlight the natural risks that come with moving up in weight, where speed and agility can be compromised. Terence Crawford, now stepping into heavier territory, has sparked debate with recent photos showing him bulkier than usual. While analysts caution that images can be misleading, the question remains, can he maintain the quickness that defines his style? Gaining muscle adds strength, but it can limit flexibility and stamina. The balance between added power and preserved agility will be critical in this matchup against Canelo.
Because the man is simply human. I mean, the more you age and the more weight you gain, of course you're going to be slower. Now, that doesn't mean that he won't be an elite fighter anymore. No, of course not. When you talk about special fighters like Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, they can handle themselves against anyone on any given night in the worst circumstances possible. That is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get back into the discussion when it comes to Terence Crawford carrying the 168 division, when it comes to the 168 pound weight. So if you actually think about it, Terence Crawford, how is the man looking right now? I know, yes, I know that we have seen the new pictures of Bud Crawford with him looking absolutely massive. But I actually talked about this in one of my previous videos, ladies and gentlemen, which you can go back and check out. Terence Bud Crawford, don't let these pictures fool you, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let these pictures fool you. Yes, of course, Terence Bud Crawford gained weight, but the pictures make it seem like Terence Bud Crawford looks like a heavyweight. Let me tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. The lighting and the pump and the angle, everything plays a part in how you look in pictures. You know what I mean? Like, this is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. I can show you 2 pictures of me taken within 24 hours, and in one picture, my physique looks completely different than the other picture. One picture I can take after having a unbelievable workout, with a nice sweat on, with a nice pump, with some nice lighting, and a nice angle. I would look completely different than when I look right now, or getting out of bed, which I just did.
Abel Sanchez, one of boxing's most respected trainers, has downplayed Crawford's chances of beating Canelo. He even compared the matchup to a sparring session rather than a real contest, arguing Crawford is too small to match Alvarez. Sanchez echoed the view that Canelo's natural size, power, and experience in heavier divisions give him the upper hand. While he acknowledged Crawford's greatness, Sanchez insisted that skill alone cannot always overcome the physical realities of the sport.
Crawford, quote, "It will be a sparring session for Saul Canelo Alvarez." Coach Abel Sanchez dismissed Crawford's chance against Canelo, and it's really because of the weight gain. Renowned Mexican trainer Abel Sanchez has reignited the hype surrounding Canelo Crawford, scheduled September 13th, Las Vegas. Speaking to the ring, Gennady Golovkin, trainer, says, quote, "Crawford is a great fighter, but that's why weight divisions exist. Canelo has proven that when he moves up, he faces and beats the best in each category. Neither Bivol could hurt him, nor could my fighter in 2 fights." And he's talking about Golovkin. And even though Canelo and Golovkin fought 3 times, Abel did not train him for the 3rd fight. It was Jonathan Banks. So that's why he said in the 2 fights that he's familiar with, he's saying that Golovkin never really hurt Canelo. The weight jump, the big disadvantage. Crawford, undefeated record. He's 41-0, 31 knockouts. Agreed to move up to 168, blah, blah, blah. And he says, quote, "If Crawford had taken 3 or 4 years to gain strength and mass properly, he would have a better chance. But doing it in just over a year is too risky. He'll be slower, and Canelo will dictate the pace." Now, this is a recent picture of Crawford, who definitely looks in shape. And, you know, that's what we come to expect from a guy like Crawford.
Chris Algieri offers a different take, criticizing the amount of hype surrounding this showdown. While many fans and promoters have labeled it as one of the biggest fights in boxing history, Algieri strongly disagrees. He argues that although it is certainly exciting, it is nowhere near the greatest fight ever. In his view, the matchup does not compare with past historic battles where both fighters were evenly matched in their absolute prime. Algieri cautions that fans may be exaggerating the drama, since Terence is moving into uncharted territory against Canelo, a champion who has already proven himself at higher divisions.
I love it because I have a lot of casuals who go to me and like, "Man, I can't wait for this fight. This is the best matchup that could be made." And I'm like, no, it's not. It's certainly not. Definitely not. Definitely not the best fight that can be made right now. I can think of a dozen fights that I would rather see. And a lot of them include Inoue against a bunch of different guys that I would rather see over this fight. But casual fans don't care that much about 122-pound guys who fight across the world in Japan. They care about big names and characters. But at the end of the day, when you look at this on paper, Crawford's 38, Canelo's 35. Neither looked very impressive in their last fight. They're still 3 weight classes apart. That has not changed, because, you know, and Crawford hasn't fought in a year plus. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of poo-pooing of this on paper. So I'm glad somebody says it. So thank you.
He didn't say his name.
I like this guy. He came out there and just said his piece and left.
That's the type of guy that definitely calls in the WFAN here in New York. It's like, we need Boone fired. The Yankees suck. I don't look forward to anything. But,
What's up with that bullpen?
Yeah,
all right, I'm out of
exactly.
here.
I'm out. I'll hang up and listen. But yes, like you said, there are a bunch of fights you'd rather see. There are a bunch of fights I'd rather see both these guys in rather than the one we're getting. Like I'd rather see.
That's a great way to put it too.
Yeah, Boots versus Crawford. I'd rather see Canelo versus Benavidez, Canelo versus Bivol, Canelo versus anyone at 168 of these top 5 there.
What about Virgil and Crawford? I like that fight. That got mentioned at one point.
Absolutely. I mean, but
fight.
this is how boxing works. We'll all be excited on September 13th because it is a big event. We've talked about this numerous times on the show. We need big events, at least 1 or 2 of them a year to stay relevant as a sport. It's on Netflix. We're all going to be excited that week heading into it. Maybe even that guy.
Hey, Dan and Chris. Love the show. This is Nero calling from Hollywood. I was wondering, with so many people taking Bud Crawford to win, I think at one point it felt like a hot take, and now it's becoming sort of a standard take. I hope this isn't too much of an abstract question, but can you think of another time where someone chose what seemed to be a hot take and then become the regular take? And what was the result of that fight? Personally, I think it's a bridge too far for Bud Crawford, and I think people are underestimating Canelo, but who knows?
Boxing analyst Showbiz the Adult points to the gap in the quality of opposition each fighter has faced. He argues that none of the opponents Terence Crawford has defeated could realistically handle the kind of competition Canelo has fought. This comparison highlights a massive difference in resumes. Canelo has consistently faced and beaten champions across multiple weight classes. Crawford, despite being undefeated, has not tested himself against the same level of established threats. Critics often accuse Canelo of picking easier fights, but his supporters argue this is unfair, as nearly all his opponents were respected champions. When comparing logically, Canelo's career path has clearly been tougher, filled with elite-level opponents across divisions, while Crawford's perfect record lacks the same caliber of names.
Name the fighters Crawford fought who would beat Triple G. That Spence, that Crawford fought. That Kell Brook, that Crawford fought. That Sean Porter, that Crawford fought. Would any of them beat Callum Smith at 168? I'm not sure how many fighters Crawford fought would beat the Miguel Cotto that Canelo fought. This is what I'm trying to say. When it comes to skill, experience has a lot to do with it. Case in point, you get an Austin Trout, you get a Caleb Plant, you get a Lara, you get a Floyd Mayweather, you get a Bivol. Just those 5, when it comes to experience, gives him the right experience that when he fights Crawford, he's not like, I don't know what this is like. There's not one fighter Crawford fought that would give him the experience against Canelo.
Reports and training footage showcase Terence Crawford's unrelenting dedication as he prepares for this monumental challenge. His regimen includes strength work, intense sparring, and conditioning drills designed to build stamina. Crawford has been experimenting with new training methods to handle the heavier shots and longer exchanges he expects from Canelo. His focus extends beyond physical readiness, with his camp emphasizing composure and mental strength. Still, the core reality remains. Crawford must solve Canelo's relentless style. Against Errol Spence, Crawford dominated, but Spence lacked the size, power, and patience that defined Canelo's approach. The Mexican superstar has built his career on waiting for the perfect moment to strike.
And that usually breaks him down. So with some fighters, I see is that they think that Canelo is easy work because of the fact that he's flat-footed and he just kind of like, he does basic, I would say. He has basic skills, but he's really good at those basic fundamental skills. He does everything almost like perfect. But yeah, he's flat-footed, but you got to realize that he also has hell of a head movement and body movement. He understands and he's perfected that rolling with the punch thing. He's been rolling with punches, like just to take off the steam off the punches.
Former world champion Kell Brook gives a detailed breakdown of why. He favors Canelo in this matchup. Brook respects Crawford's dominant win over Errol Spence, but insists that Spence is not Canelo. The Mexican brings a rare blend of power, experience, and tactical control that Crawford has never truly faced. Canelo thrives in heavier weight divisions, proving himself repeatedly against bigger and stronger men. Brook argues that while Crawford's technical skills are among the best in boxing, they cannot fully prepare him for Canelo's intelligence and adaptability inside the ring. He believes this is the toughest fight of Crawford's career because never before has Terence faced such a complete fighter with advantages in size, strength, and strategy.
You've got to sway towards Canelo. Crawford's going to have to, move up. And, I knew when I boxed Golovkin, there's a big difference, especially with someone that, fighting a middleweight, a mediocre world champion's okay. But when you're fighting someone like, Canelo or Golovkin, it's a different kettle of fish, I have to lean towards Canelo, but, Crawford's very, very, very good.
Do you think Crawford's still got the legs? Obviously, he's very much got great IQ in the ring, but he's very much a good mover as well. Do you feel like he's still got the legs to be maybe outmoving Canelo if he needs to?
Well, I don't know. I think when we look back at Mayweather when he beat Canelo, he's a mover. Crawford's not really like Mayweather in that aspect. He's more, he kind of sets his feet. He's cute with how he approaches chucking shots and moving. You know what I mean? I think it's a different fight to Mayweather, and Canelo's obviously a different fighter from when he boxed Mayweather.
That wraps up today's breakdown. Stay tuned for more updates, reactions, and expert takes on this mega fight. Until next time,